Hi, everybody, and welcome to my presentation on how to network as an introvert. So, why is networking important? There's a lot of reasons why networking is important, but factually, 84% of companies use employee referral programs. I know quite a few companies that do, particularly studios, like really AAA studios. They have referral programs where an employee gets a little bit of a benefit for bringing in somebody who they know and trust to fulfill a role that they have in-house. 40% of those referrals are more likely to be retained after 1 year rather than non-referral hires because they are already getting indoctrinated. They already have an ally in the space who has vouched for them. So it's that easier settling in than somebody who's completely new. Referred employees are 18% more likely to be satisfied with their jobs. And the cost per hire for employee referrals is typically lower than other recruiting methods. I remember in one of my first jobs, I had to sort out a lot of invoices, and I actually saw how much my company was paying for me through a referral company. And although obviously we do still need referral companies out there, they don't have to have that cost if they've hired organically. Therefore, if you are up for a role, it's safe to say that you have a better chance of getting considered if people are already knowing that you are a safe candidate. They know and trust you. Now, this is not going to ensure that you get the role, obviously, but it ensures that you might be getting yourself in at least in interviewing stage, particularly. So to give you a little bit of an introduction to myself, I'm Lauren. I'm program coordinator at Limit Break Mentorship Program, which means I basically help make sure that the day-to-day things happen and that we're hitting all of our little status points throughout the year. I'm also a TV presenter at Jinx. I'm the host and creator of She Plays Games. I'm a massive introvert as well. Like I just, it might not always seem it, but I have mass anxiety when it comes to networking. But with that being said, I've found a lot of opportunities through networking, which have benefited. I mean, a lot of this that I've just mentioned to you is all result of me successfully networking with other people. So, those opportunities really, really, really show themselves as you network and get to know people and get people to trust you, be on your side. So let's be real. This is what networking is like for us introverts. It can feel awkward. It can feel inorganic. It can feel unproductive. Like, when you go into a networking situation, you never know whether or not, is this the right time for me to pitch what I want to pitch to them? Is this is this going anywhere? I think there's a lot of misaligned logic that comes with introvertedness and networking because realistically, you have to be authentic and you have to be interested in people in order for networking to really work for you. But there is good news. As an introvert, you are basically built for networking because of how well you're able to be careful while you speak. You know that what you say is generally going to be something that, you've thought about. You also will actively listen because you're not talking as much. Not saying this for all introverts because I definitely do word vomit. But in terms of those who are more quiet and reserved, you can use that time to really listen for cues in the conversation. And also generally you have less people in your party, but they're more quality because these are people who you trust as well as trusting you. So that's good. There's a really big safety and quality in having less, definitely. Less, but quality. With that being said, networking is 100% a skill. It's something that you can learn over time. Networking for me initially was about getting guests for my podcast. I started my podcast from very, very, very small, a very, very small foundation. But I wanted so passionately to have a space where women could speak about their experiences in games, and it just didn't exist at that time, a podcast that specifically dealt with that. So I really had to put myself out there. I really had to ask and try to, make these really big connections in small spaces of time to ensure that we covered enough. We covered enough for my show. So I had to do that. I also have networked to get advice on how to push myself further. I've sought after people who are experts in the field, people who are in the same realm as me. So, people who are on the same journey or in the same sort of area of their journey. It's really important. And then also networking. I networked to make sure that I was reaching the right people as well. Like particularly with the podcast, I wanted to make sure that like my work was getting to people, inspiring people, particularly women, to come into the industry and to feel empowered and understand what options were out there, because that's what I didn't have. But the only way I could do that was by putting myself out there in situations where people could identify who I was and also be able to talk with me about the podcast and about what it meant to them and that type of thing. So yeah, there was a lot of different things there. So my top networking tips, these are the things that I live by, and feel free to take, omit, whatever you need from this. But these are just the things that I kind of live by when it comes to networking. So you're going to an event, you've booked yourself an event, you know that there's going to be a networking portion. What do you do first? First, you research. Research is such a big step in this. You have to understand what is the event that you're going to for. So what is the objective of the event? Who's hosting it? So yes, the hosts who are hosting the event, the companies that are hosting the event as well. It's really good to know who's sponsoring the event, because typically you know that if somebody's sponsoring an event, they tend to send reps to the event to speak with people and generally like want to go. So having a good idea that these are the people who are going to be there is really beneficial to you. Figure out who's going as well. And I have some other tips about how to do this. But yeah, figure out like if anybody is going, or find out like what kind of industry people are going. Is it something where it's going to be primarily art people? Is it something where it's going to be a bit of a mixture? It's going to be content creators. Like you never know until you actually like look for indications of who might be going. And then also research if a friend can join you. There is a bit of a benefit in numbers. However, with that being said, I will have a massive disclaimer in that you don't want to attach yourself fully to that person during the night. You have to both be on the same page in that you're networking, but you're not going to just network with each other. I think that this is like a really big crutch that you can find, that you'll just kind of stick to your mate, and it's just, you can do that. You can go to an event and have fun, but if you're going to network, it can really hurt your chances of meeting new people and having the opportunity to meet new people. So definitely have a friend with you for your comfort standards. But if you're going with the objective of meeting new people, you have to make sure that you're able to open yourself to those conversations and open yourself to those people, not just the friend that you bring. Now you've researched a bit, so now it's about making lists. Make a list of who you want to meet based off of what you've researched. Also, maybe brainstorm some goals. Is there something that you want to learn from the event? Is there something that you'd like to pitch? Pitching as well, disclaimer, you can't go into every conversation with pitching in mind. It's kind of like waves. So, you'll feel when it's right. You have to kind of test the waters to feel when it's right to pitch. This is a really hard skill to sort of work on, but it all comes with practice. But yes, you don't want to go right in and be like, I'm this is what I'm about, blah, 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 blah. Like, leave that for further conversation. Or if the opportunity is there and it's like very obvious, there's very obvious signs that this is an opportunity for a pitch, take it. But I will preface that you realistically want to go in a bit more gingerly. You want to have a little bit of like tact when it comes to when you pitch your ideas and when you pitch yourself. Now that you know that you're going to the event, say that you're going. So tell people that you are going to blah, blah, blah on blah, blah, blah. The old the old social network of Twitter was great for that. But I believe Blue Sky has the same thing. So I'm just checking at the moment, actually, as we're talking to see whether or not you can edit your name. And yes, you can edit your name on Blue Sky, I believe. So yeah, that's a really great way of telling people that you're there. It's also a great way of utilizing the SEO portion of searching on social media networks like X and like Blue Sky. People can search WASD, blah, blah, blah. And then they'll see a whole list of people. Sometimes you even see people who you see people instead of the actual event itself listed on the search, which is sometimes entertaining, probably very frustrating for the event managers. But but yes, no, utilize your social media, promote that you'll be there as well. Send out a little message to be like, I'm going to be coming, blah, 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 and I'm going to be talking about this, blah, blah, blah. And respond to posts of other guests who have said that they're going as well. And just be like, oh, it'd be great to see you there. It'd be cool, that kind of thing. Really, really, really just take the opportunity to use what you have at your disposal to showcase that you're going to be at the event. Now, this is a bit of a strange one, and I think it kind of comes from me being an actor. I'm comfortable with the idea of practicing how you talk to people, but I realize that this is probably something that's a bit obscure to people who haven't monologued before. It's like I have a monologue that's constantly churning in my head. But like it does help, I think, like particularly with complex subjects, it's a really easy way of navigating those types of subjects in your head before you go to an event. Like my brain tends to process things a bit differently to other people. I struggle a bit on the fly. So having that kind of practice, like even when you're just like washing dishes or, you're walking somewhere, just like thinking, I'm on a talk show. This is my talk show. I'm on Jimmy Kimmel or whichever one that you prefer. And I'm talking about myself. I'm also asking them about themselves, like you just sort of practice those back and forths in a safe environment. It's also a great way of almost like massaging out your thoughts a bit, like making sure that they're coherent. I do have those moments where I'm just like, is that the best way to say that? Like, let me think that through a little bit more. It's a really nice way of being able to come up with that kind of information more easily when you're in a conversation. Now, update your LinkedIn. This is something that I think is becoming more and more prominent now. LinkedIn is a very professional social media network. It is something that I believe that anybody who's in a profession should have updated because it's just the safest social media network for you. You don't have that sort of tendency to post about your interests in the same way. This is a professional boundary. I generally start with LinkedIn rather than a regular Twitter, Instagram account, depending on the situation. But make sure it's updated. Make sure it's updated before you go to your event, because you don't want that situation where you have this really great opportunity where you're speaking to somebody and then they go on your page and they just don't have any indication of where you've been for the last 4 years in terms of work. Like, it's really important that you have that resume on the fly to say, this is who I am. Because this might be the only time that they'll look at your LinkedIn profile, and you want to make sure that if this is something where you want to develop that relationship further, or you want to have that professional network, that they know who you are right from the start. Now, listening is something that is also really, really important. And I know I do, people do struggle with it. I struggle with it, typically because my brain is working a lot faster than my mouth. So it is really a skill to work on. Listening for cues, listening for where the conversation is going. It's something that it's definitely can come with time and patience. But it's really important. It shows that you care about what somebody else is saying as well. And it also shows that you are engaged in the conversation, and you're not just there to think about you're there to think about other people as well. Interested. There's a quote from a film that I used to love called Loser, which it's actually said by the dad, but there is a degree of where they think that the dad is a bit geeky. But like he said, interested is interesting. And it is true. It is really true that interested it is interesting. And I know that there's another book called Seven Habits of Highly Effective People that's really good. And it's kind of that, or no, sorry. It's the how to influence others. And a lot of that message in that book is about like having an interest in people. And essentially once you lose that interest in people, you've kind of lost the battle of networking. So definitely have an interest in people, definitely listen to them and capture that information in your brain as best as you can. Have a takeaway. Make sure that you, if it's something where you really feel like you've connected and you want to continue that connection, join them up on LinkedIn, social media, ask for an email, give them your email as well, like just in case. Ask where they're going next as well. If it's like an expo or a festival, but like develop, it might be nice to think like, okay, well, I'll link up with you at this event next, or I'll link up with you at this talk again. It's nice to sort of have that connection of like, okay, we'll be together. It's fine. Bring a friend. Now we've already kind of mentioned this, bringing a friend that you can walk around with at the party to kind of have you as like an introduction piece, and introduce you to the right people. Or when you know others in the business, like this can work both ways. Like if you're somebody who already has a quite extensive network, or even like a little bit of network, introducing your friend to other people, like pay it forward, because that goes a long way as well. It benefits you, and it also benefits your friend. So that's how you can continue to have that network bubble growing and be really, really fun and nice. Remember though, with these kind of situations, they don't always go well. They don't always go your way. It's okay not to know something. It's okay to, ask about something that maybe comes up in conversation. You haven't played the game that somebody's talking about. Oh, like, what's it about? Like, People are happy to talk about that kind of thing. People are happy to explain. If they're not, then, that's fine. But like generally people are happy to expand upon things for you. Some conversations as well will be really hard and really, really big duds. Like you never know what somebody else is going through. They might be crashing. They might be having, a lot of other things that are going on in their brain. Or, they just might not be interested. It's all fine. Like, I mean, we all have to have healthy boundaries. And, that's okay. That's okay for them to have boundaries, and it's okay for you to you should respect them. But don't take it on yourself that you've failed, because it's really easy to look at it as you failed. But, some people just don't. Some people just have a longer time frame of getting to that trust center. And just focus on the people who you do get on with and that you do have a really good rapport with. That's really, really important that you hang on to those people, because those are going to be your tribe essentially. Some other people will be awkward, you can be awkward for awkward. It's fine. And you might say something silly. You might say something after a conversation where you're just kind of like, why did I say that? I mean, I've gone through that definitely loads of times. It's okay. It's okay. You are the only you. You have value, and just be your own cheerleader, just carry yourself through. You know what you are capable of. You know where you are. So any conversations that you just don't feel great about, just let it wash over you like water off a duck's back, as Jinx Monsoon would say. And you'll be fine. You'll be okay. It's a really hard thing to network with people, to make those connections in such small spaces of time. But just keep doing it, keep finding opportunities to connect with people, and you'll end up okay. You'll be fine. Yes, thank you so much for listening. I hope that this was helpful for you. You can find me on everything at Level Up Lauren, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Thank you.